Okay, let's talk about a name. Just one name, Emmanuelle. Today, we're going to unpack the absolutely wild story of how that single name went from a scandalous banned book to a massive global brand that's lasted for decades. This is a story about pushing boundaries, a little bit of cinematic history, and the incredible power of a name.
So, to kick things off, just look at this number, 300 million. Let that sink in for a second. That's the estimated number of people who saw the very first Emmanuelle film back in 1974. I mean, that's more than the entire population of the US at the time. So the big question is, how on earth did a French erotic film pull that off? To figure it out, we've got to go back to the beginning.
You see, this was never just a movie. It was a full-blown cultural moment. We're talking about how one single character, born out of a novel people weren't even supposed to read, somehow lit a fire that created an international sensation that's now lasted half a century. And the scale of it all is just staggering. The name Emmanuelle completely blew up. It went way beyond the original movie, getting slapped onto official sequels, sure, but also American sci-fi shows, Italian knockoffs, British comedies, even a video game. It stopped being about a character and became this brand that anybody, it seemed, could use to sell something. Okay, so to really understand how this media empire came to be, we have to rewind. We're going all the way back. Before the movies, before the brand, there was a secret. There was a pen name and a book that was just way too scandalous for its time.
So, the whole thing started with this novel published under a fake name, Emmanuelle Arson. And the plot? Well, it was pretty simple, but seriously provocative for the era. It's all about the awakening and adventures of Emmanuelle, the young wife of a French diplomat living in Bangkok.
But getting this book out into the world was a long, controversial process. It was actually written way back in 1957, but it sat on her shelf for 10 years. When it finally got published, it was immediately banned in France. Of course, telling people they can't read something is probably the best marketing you can get, right? That forbidden mystique set the stage perfectly for the movie adaptation in 1974 to just explode.
And here's where the story gets another layer of mystery. Because for decades, people have been arguing about who was really behind that pen name, Emmanuelle Arson.
Officially, the author was a French-Thai actress named Mariotte Rollet-Andrienne, but later on, a film producer who knew the couple came out and said that actually it was her husband, Louis Jacques, who wrote the whole thing. To this day, nobody really knows for sure, which just adds to the whole Emmanuelle legend.
So that mysterious banned book was the spark. No doubt about it. But the 1974 film, that was the explosion. It didn't just break box office records, it shattered taboos. This movie is the single event that launched the entire global phenomenon.
And right at the center of it all was one person, Sylvia Kristel. This Dutch actress became the face of Emmanuelle. For millions of people across the globe, she was the character. She became this huge international star almost overnight, and her identity was completely fused with that role.
So why was this movie such a sensation? Well, while most filmmakers were terrified of getting an X rating, Emmanuelle leaned into it hard. The director, Just Jackin, just filled the screen with stuff that was considered totally shocking for a mainstream movie in 1974. I mean, there's that infamous scene with the dancer and a cigarette. It was so out there that British censors just cut huge chunks of the film, including a really controversial rape scene.
And the result of all that controversy? Insane, unprecedented success. Get this, in Paris, the film ran continuously at one theater for 11 years. No, that's not a typo. 11 years. It wasn't just a movie anymore. It was like a permanent tourist attraction. But here's the crazy part. That success wasn't exactly shared with everyone. For playing the role that made her a global icon, Sylvia Kristel was reportedly paid just $6,000. Meanwhile, the film raked in over $26 million in the US alone. Now, she definitely got a better deal for the sequels, but that contrast just shows you the sheer scale of the financial tidal wave she helped create. And that tidal wave didn't just stop with one movie. Oh no! The success of that first film basically opened the floodgates, creating this massive and frankly chaotic media empire, all built around that one name.
Pretty soon, the brand became bigger than the people who created it. It felt like everyone wanted a piece of the Emmanuelle pie. And that led to this wild universe of content, where you had the official French sequels running alongside this bizarre, sprawling collection of international spin-offs. It was a total free-for-all.
And I mean, things got weird.
On one side, you have the official series, but on the other, you had Italy creating its own Black Emmanuelle series. The UK did a parody called Carry On Emmanuelle, and America? America sent Emmanuelle to space, and then, for good measure, had her fight Dracula. Seriously, the name had basically become a license to print money.
Which brings us all the way to today, because after 50 years of sequels and spin-offs and all these crazy reinventions, the character of Emmanuelle is still here. She's proven to be remarkably durable, just adapting to new times and new audiences.
I mean, look at this journey. It's 5 decades of constant shape-shifting. It started as this groundbreaking, artsy erotic film in '74. Then it morphed into campy sci-fi in the '90s, and it kept going with a direct-to-video series in the 2010s. The franchise has always found a way to survive. And that reinvention isn't over. This year, 50 years after the original, there's a huge new theatrical reboot on the way. It's being directed by the acclaimed filmmaker Audrey Dwan, and it stars Noémie Merlant. The story of Emmanuelle is officially starting its next chapter.
So, we end up right back where we started, with a question. This whole journey, from a forbidden book to a blockbuster brand, it's so much more than just movie trivia. It's like a mirror, right? It reflects our own changing ideas about sex, censorship, and what we consider okay to show on screen. And the fact that we're still rebooting this character 50 years later really makes you wonder, what does our endless fascination with Emmanuelle actually say about us?